dirt to Tony Huge, because we know those are all fucking lies, and he's eventually going to turn on Tony Huge in Order 66. Tony Huge.
He actually didn't respond to me. I'll have to look at the text message. So when that went down, of course, as you guys know, anytime Jason does anything, before I even see it, 100 people will make sure that I see it.
Of course.
And so I actually saw it first on the Real Chris Braz page. And, you know, he had done his little edit that I thought was funny. And I always find him to be, at this point, he's been very pro PJ and pretty anti Jason.
He does not like Jason.
And Jason does not like
I think
him.
Chris Bra is fair. He always seems to be on the correct side.
So do I, but I had a conversation with Chris Bra where he just feels at this point Jason's just not a good person. And I honestly at this point agree. And so when he put that video up, I sent it to him, and I wrote, "What's this about, Jason? After all I've done for you and the money that I've given you over the years, this is what you want to say about me." Now, before that, literally one day before that, he messaged me a Star Wars thing, like he always does.
That new Star Wars flick looks awesome.
It does look good. And then so he sent me the video, was Chest and Buys with Brad, 10-year anniversary. And he said, celebrity, my 10-year on YouTube, huge deal. Thank you, you're on my YouTube. Huge deal, big deal, thank you, please share. Please post on your Instagram. So usually when he reaches out to me, it's just he wants me to do something for him.
Right. He strokes you first.
Well, now that he did something that I have to reach out to him for, he doesn't respond. He has not responded to me since this has gone up. And I know a bunch of people have said stuff to him. But I think that what a lot of people don't understand is that Jason plays his character up a lot. And he actually knows a lot more about what he's doing.
Yeah,
so, Tony Huge, for instance, when I spoke to him about it, he said at first, just like me, that he thought that Jason was, I don't want to say he used the word retarded, but, you know, that, okay, this guy is, well, let's just say, a retard. Right? And then when he met him, though, he realized, no, that's not the case at all. So when I first met him the first time, I was like, this guy's a fucking retard, right? This is like ridiculous. And then when I met him, and I met him with his mom, Jane, the first time, I pulled Aaron aside, and I was like, look, here's the deal. I want to go through this video completely different. This kid's actually not retarded. I think that he is definitely somehow mentally handicapped. I am not a doctor, but I diagnosed him that day saying he's either some sort of like high-functioning autistic, perhaps Asperger's syndrome. I'm like, but he's kind of like a child in a way, but he's with it.
Right.
So from that start, I was like, let's try to swing this positive. So in the initial phase of Jason, which I think most people found to be pretty entertaining, you had Andrew behind the camera, which, not to suck Andrew's dick, I think that was...
I won't stop you.
It's early. It's early.
I
We
think
can get to that.
Is that a Freudian slip, PJ?
No, I'm serious, not to suck his dick,
Don't
but I
expect me
feel
to suck yours back.
I feel that Andrew brought a part of Jason out that people found to be like endearing and very entertaining in the beginning, and then you had the different guys that would come in, Lenny and Big Rich and Saul and all the funny characters from the gym, the guys that, like the day that I went there with you, the same guys that were kind of floating around. It was a funny group, and Jason started getting more and more popular, and then you had people that definitely wanted to use Jason, of course, to get their views out, and then you had the really, really scummy guys that came in and had him doing all the jackass type ridiculous bullshit.
Johnny Fitness.
We lit a bottle rock out of his asshole, though. We did do that.
Out of Jason's.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's...
Actually, two of them, I think.
Yeah, too. He asked for it, too.
He is obsessed with the views. That's what he cares about.
That's it.
But in the beginning, it was... First of all, my perspective, which I've said before, I think you guys have heard, is I said if I can get this kid in shape, I'm the best fucking coach ever. Because I don't think anybody can do it. And that was my objective from the start. And we definitely had fun in the old Iron Mag Labs days, which is how it really started. And then, of course, the posing video outside my house, which was one of my favorite videos that we ever shot. That part was all fun. It was once he started getting in with other guys and kind of spinning out of control, he got so obsessed with the views that he didn't care about what he was doing to himself or anyone around him.
Someone told me, is it true? Do you guys remember when Jason did that whole shtick with he's running for president? Is it true he messaged you and asked you to donate to his campaign?
Yes, he did. 100%.
Can you believe that?
So I was like, Jason. So he actually, I can probably find the text messages. So
Unbelievable.
He's got no shame.
he broke down. Somebody gave him some silly information on what the
make it up.
requirements were to be able to run for president, and that how he basically qualified. He fit the requirements. And I said, Jason, whoever's telling you this is just fucking with you. This is not serious. And he really was pushing it off as it being serious for a little while. But he has had a number of things like, you know, the movie that he was going to star in, and he sent me the fake contract that somebody had sent him. It was ridiculous. I still had the soft spot for him because at the time I still did think he was a good kid.
You're in phase 2.
So at that point, that was when he would still come around for stuff all the time. And there was a strange phase where I was still in the old building, where he was, I don't know if he switched his medication or something, or if he was just not taking his medication, but he had a lot of bad episodes at that point. And there was a day where my mom called me panicking. My mom used to come to the office a lot. She used to hang out in shipping back then. And she goes, can you please come here right now? That boy that you helped is in the parking lot screaming that he's going to kick this guy's ass and that he's going to kill himself. And I was like, he's not going to do anything. I'll be there as fast as I can. And I had gotten there maybe like 15 minutes later. And now, to somebody on the outside that's not on YouTube and watching everything the way that we are, if you're somebody like my mom or just some of the random women that were in the office, he's a fairly big guy and he's screaming in the parking lot. They were scared. And so they locked the door because they didn't want him to come in, and he kept on asking for me. So I got there, and he was crying and throwing a temper tantrum in the parking lot over somebody that he supposedly had just gotten into a fight with.
He's one of those guys you don't make eye contact with on the subway.
Exactly.
Jason kind of claims to have been the one to put Blackstone on the map and PJ Braun on the map. What's your response to
So
that?
that was the thing that I...
No, listen. That's he might have brought attention to PJ, but if it wasn't for PJ and the quality of his supplements and stuff, it wouldn't have mattered.
Sound like Dale trying to get a sponsorship.
Well, this is something that I've explained to people before. So, bringing attention, whether it's positive or negative, there are certain people that can certainly bring attention, and Jason brought a lot of attention. In the beginning, there was a lot of people that would write me and say, I think it's really great what you're doing with Jason. It's really awesome. I think you're a stand-up guy. I like to see that.
Because they don't know him.
Well, I mean, on the outside looking in, people kind of looked at it as, first of all, I don't think most people even realized how old Jason is. I think a lot of people thought I was helping this kid.
Right.
And so I would get messages saying it was really nice what you're doing for that kid, keep it up. And I think there was a certain demographic of people that really wanted to see Jason do well. And there were certainly people that didn't like him in the beginning, but I think it was for the most part pretty overwhelmingly positive. At the end, though, it was completely flopped the other way, where I would say it was probably 20% positive, 80% negative.
That's how it is now on his channel.
And everywhere I go now, literally everywhere I go in the world, it's always the same kind of assholey little punk that'll have the same wise-ass smile that'll be lingering around, and in my head I'll be like, this is your no-go thing, right? that'll kind of out of the side of his mouth be like, where's Jason? Everywhere. It's happened to me in Switzerland, Australia, England, Germany, Mexico, and I always joking around, I'm like, I didn't bring him on this trip, and then they'll laugh, and then they'll leave, because that's all they want to say. So we know we're never going to escape it ever. It's going to be something that lives on forever, and I'm okay with that because there were a lot of fun times in the beginning, and there was a lot of positivity in the beginning. It just now we can't even escape. There's a core group of trolls that they harass everyone that's associated with it.
So how's your blood work is good on gear?
Yeah, my blood work's phenomenal. I'll give you an example. So when I was...
What are you taking, test and primo?
No, I'll break it down. When I was drinking all the time, I was running basically just HRT tests, just 200 mgs a week, and honestly, when I was like heavily drinking, I would forget to do shots, all kinds of stuff. So at that stage, my liver enzymes were constantly elevated. My hematocrit, my blood pressure was always high, and I was doing glutathione through an IV at least twice a month, which is pretty aggressive. You can go up to once a week, which when I was at the end, I was like, in my head, at least I was smart enough to be like, at least try to save my liver. And so I was doing the glutathione, but I was so toxic that the days that I would do the glutathione, I would wake up in my bed pouring with sweat and shaking because it's pulling the toxins out so hard.
Inclined to do it, I would say that.
It's just, if you think of it,
That's what got you sucking tranny cock. What do you?
Well, that's different. That's a girl. Do you agree?
no.
PJ, what are your thoughts on that? If you blow a tranny, are you homosexual?
If a penis is in your mouth, then yes, you're on.
If you're looking at her face,
Thank you.
I mean, committed. You've seen some hot down here. There, you can't tell the difference. And some of the hottest looking girls.
You can tell the
difference when
the pants off.
All right,
Thank you. Exactly.
What is your perspective
This is so stupid.
if he does not do anything to the penis, but he fucks the tranny in the ass? Is that a far lesser of the two evils?
Yes.
No. If he never sees the penis.
Well,
it's like tape.
I think a blowjob, if they keep their pants on, is a victimless crime.
Of course you do.
You got plausible deniability if you never saw the nuts and dick.
Some of these post-op trannies you would never know. They look like beautiful.
But what's the point of a post-op? Just get a girl, you know?
Well, I guess I suppose that is.
I go by the estrogen level. I mean, I'm taking estrogen. Their skin's soft. Their voice is soft.
Have you in your searches on Pornhub ever come across Chanel Santini?
No, but I'll check her out.
You should check her out. So
She's local?
So I
I
told the
need some
story.
Italian trannies.
How much to have her shit on my chest?
Check out Chanel Santini. I'll tell you a quick funny story. So
The trolls are going to ruin this girl.
No, everyone's gonna go find her after this. So I'm on Pornhub one morning, and I often go into I like Spanish girls. So I'm in like one of the Latina sections, and I see this girl's face, super fucking hot. And so I start watching the scene. She's making out with the guy. She's getting all into it. I'm fucking getting into it. And the camera goes down, and she's got a fucking dick. And I'm like,
And you
no
came.
way. Shortly after that. So
Nutted right away.
I was so blown away because I was like, no way, you're not gonna get me like that. So I started searching this girl because her name wasn't in the scene, trying to find her, right? So I'm typing in like pretty tranny, like hot tranny, hot she-male, all these things, and I get a virus on my computer. So my computer's completely frozen, and I'm sitting there like, no fucking way. And I'm like, I thought Max couldn't get viruses, so I call one of my tech guys. And I go,
Hurry up before my wife sees it.
so I call him and I go, hey, I thought Max can't get viruses. And he said it's very, very difficult. And he gave me some tech-related term that can happen. He goes, or if you're just watching a bunch of fucked up porn. And I go, all right, cool. I get off the phone with him. So I'm in a spot where I can either take this thing to Apple, where we go all the time, and we have a business account there, so they're going to think that I'm a fucking scumbag. Or I can bring it to my tech guy, and I can have one guy in the office that I see every day who's going to think that I'm pretty weird. So I was like, you know what?
She-male porn, yeah.
That's the less of the two evils. So I'm trying to, it's frozen, so I can't clear the history, nothing. And the history, there's like 30 things that's all like she-male this, tranny
Chicks with
this,
dicks.
yeah. So I bring it in, I don't say anything to anybody, and I give him the computer. And so like an hour later, he's like, hey man, your computer's fixed. And I'm like, cool. So I walk into his office, and it's just sitting there on his desk, and I got it. And I was like, did you have to go into the history? And he just put his hands up like this, and he goes, don't worry about it. He goes, I've seen it all at this point. And I kind of just put my head down and went out. And so later on, I was just trying to tell him the story. And he goes,
Oh, God.
he's like, it's cool, man. It's cool. I don't need to know.
Dude, when you turn 40, you could do master's physique to get your real card.
My competing days are long gone.
Why couldn't you win nationals at a over 40 men's physique?
Men's physique?
Yeah, board shorts.
I don't have the structure for it.
You could.
I have so many bad injuries that I wouldn't be able to look good anymore.
You're kind of all side delts and arms.
It's almost like, I can't get my posterior delts or my side delts really to fire at all now.
Will you coach Jay with the posing for the board short competition?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I'm trying to get out.
He needs a posing coach.
I'll absolutely help him with the. I learned from Kenny Walsh, who's the man. He's coaching everybody on those.
They don't even let those physique guys do a routine, do they?
So now the routines. I don't know if you've been watching the. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, but the routines for men's physique now are getting ridiculous.
Does it start by coming out of a closet?
They're very theatrical now.
you take your skirt off first.
No, there's a lot of like jazz hands and ridiculous stuff that goes on with.
It's like ballet.
It is. It's like ballet. It is.
That's really gay.
Yeah, it's a lot more than just standing there and turning around like it used to be.
Yeah, because when we went to Koth Andrews' show, they didn't even do pose downs or a routine. They just paraded them through. They already picked the winners.
That's the night show, though.
The evening show, yeah, they didn't even.
Oh, did you go to the pre-judging?
No.
Yeah, that's where they do it. All the judging is done in the pre-judging.
How many grams of protein you think a 300-pounder should eat?
It depends. What are they trying to do? Sustain 300 pounds of
I
muscle?
thought you knew
or
everything,
weight?
Jay. You got quite a lot of questions for a fucking.
That was a good question.
I think that the general bodybuilding community eats far too much protein.
Right, guys are eating 400 grams.
It's insane. And I will admit, when I was competing, I was eating a shitload of protein.
I mean, if you're 400 pounds, yeah, eat 400 grams.
When I was competing, I was probably eating on an average day 350 to 400 grams of protein.
Okay, that's going to be hard on your kidneys.
Yeah. It's just a lot of fucking protein.
And when you eat that much protein, it's going to throw you out of ketosis because you're going to convert some of that into glucose.
Yeah, so Dave's, the Palumbo plan is, it's basically 8 ounces of lean protein at every meal, which is going to be roughly 50 grams of protein. And then, so yeah, he has you do, when I was working with Dave, it's 3 whey meals, 2 scoops of whey, which is going to be 50, 54, 55 grams of protein.
Okay.
1 meal is 8 ounces of white fish. 1 meal is 8 ounces of red meat, and the other meal I believe is it's like 6 whole eggs. And then the fats that you put at the meals is usually peanut butter. He likes the macadamia nut oil because he had some sort of like reserve of macadamia nut oil that he was getting real cheap, I think, and he was selling it that way. And that diet, in theory, would be too high of protein to be properly in ketosis. But Dave's theory on it was that bodybuilders, because of their metabolisms and how hard they're training, have to have more protein and will still stay in ketosis. I mean, I will say that the diet definitely works. And I got very, very lean following Dave's plan. I just don't think it's an optimal way to bodybuild. You can lose weight like that for sure.
So it's meat, fish, eggs, and whey?
Yeah, and just a bunch of greens. Do you not drink at all now?
Not a drop.
That's good.
Cold turkey, December 29th last year, I woke up throwing up blood. And in my mind, I thought, you know what? Only a loser goes back to drinking after throwing up blood.
And
Have
you
you
stopped?
heard
Good.
about the lonesome?
How rough was the next few weeks after that?
Piece of cake for me. I was never physically addicted.
That's good. So for me, after I got out of the hospital, they put me on a lot of different medicines. But you go through a phase where it's like impossible to sleep. Because you're used to passing out every time, you know? So you start...
you definitely get insomnia when you get sober.
Yeah, you even still now, I don't sleep for more than like 4 hours.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here. That's
You
it.
need some G.
Yeah, that'll put you to sleep, but it'll probably put you in deep REM sleep for like 4 hours.
Have you ever
when
done
wake
a
up
sleep
anyway.
study?
I haven't, no.
Oh, you could have sleep apnea for all you know.
I mean, I definitely could. I don't think that I do because any woman that slept next to me says I'm a pretty peaceful sleeper. I don't snore.
Okay.
Nothing weird like that.
I'll lose my sleep apnea at about 260.
Yeah, I mean, I bet you if I kept pursuing the bodybuilding that I would, because a lot of my buddies that got really big have sleep apnea. I don't know if I could sleep with one of those fucking CPAPs on my face, though.
You wake up feeling pretty good.
You get used to it. I would definitely get a sleep study. Definitely.
I'm a light sleeper anyway, but I have never needed a lot of sleep.
I get up about every 2 hours to piss anyway. Fucking sucks.
Yeah, I usually nap, so now my days are really long.
You probably just wet the bed. You fucking asshole. You kidding? You get up.
I miss being in my truck and just pissing in a bottle while I'm standing.
You're back at mommy's. You can wet the bed and she'll change and clean the sheets.
No, she hangs them outside to humiliate me. All the neighbors see the stained sheets. I had to run home every day from school to get there to tear them down off the clothesline.
I remember a kid I'd play with up in Pittsburgh. Mother used to put his shitty underwear on the mailbox so the mail didn't see it. I'm gonna embarrass you, bad boy, Mom.
The parenting that went down in the
You want to meet
70s.
my son? We call him Shit Pants.